had been writing songs for about a year, just trying to get better at songwriting in general. And I had been doing all my own demos. The more I listened to them, the less I thought they were really good enough to sell, to be entirely honest. And I was in Detroit working with all these amazing artists like the Tops and Melvin and Spyder. And so I said, you know, why am I trying to sing? People are just going to run for the hills when I do that anyways. So let the people who can really sing do it. And I started writing songs specifically for those artists. Yeah, I've always been a huge fan of the Four Tops. They've been my favorite group for as long as I can remember. And Duke Fakir, who is the original founding member, still performing with them. Duke has been amazing. And I remember when this project was just in its genesis, we were sitting in the airport, and I had written this song, Crying in a Whisper. It was the first song I wrote for the project, and I played it for Duke, and he liked it, and he said, "Oh, this sounds like a Four Tops song," and it kind of planted the seed. I hadn't really thought about it, but it was one of those like, you know, is he serious or is he just being nice? And sure enough, you know, the more we talked about it, the more he got involved with it, and the great part about the two songs that they did is that they came in and sang the harmonies live around one microphone, and you know, there's no crazy overdubs, there's no pitch correction, they just came in and sang it live around one microphone, and it's amazing. You got me whisper, and yelling out loud, talking to myself. Jamerson is on the two songs that the Four Tops performed. But after that session, we were just sitting down and making stuff up. It was me and Steve Adams on percussion and Jamerson. And we just played this groove for probably about 5 or 6 minutes and recorded it. And I said, I'm going to, write a melody over that. And we're gonna, add to it and make it almost like a Headhunters jam vibe. And the song is called JMO, because that's what everybody calls Jamerson in Detroit. I wrote the melody to JMO on a keyboard, just sitting in the studio, hanging out, and sent it to New York to one of my teachers, who I was studying with at NYU, Lenny Pickett. And Lenny is an original member of Tower of Power, and he plays saxophone and arranges for the Saturday Night Live band. Just a fantastic saxophone player. And he took the melody on the song and really got to go kind of out there with the solo, and it's just a lot of fun. Dennis was one of the first guys who I went to see and tried to, really get to know when I moved to Detroit. Just amazing guy, amazing guitar player. And he's also on this song and really adds that flavor that he has to it. The real ambient guitar sounds and awesome wah-wah patterns and, this real tasteful but still aggressive solo. It's great. It's great. Dennis is the man. And also on that track is Earl Van Dyke's son, Turhan. And Turhan is a fantastic keyboard player. He's the musical director for the Four Tops with us now. And he also came in after the fact and overdubbed a fantastic solo. So it's cool because that JMO song is really like an all-star jam of Detroit soul and funk music. It's really cool. And Lenny Pickett isn't quite Detroit soul, but just, he's Lenny. I met Melvin in New York City because Dennis had called me to play percussion on a show that he was playing while I was studying there. and Melvin was on the show, and Melvin saw me playing during soundcheck and said, "Oh, play my set too." And I said, "Sure, why not?" And Melvin has a real gritty, bluesy, old school, just hard-hitting voice, and he was perfect for that "Told You So" song, because that song it is a little bit bitter, and a lot of Melvin's songs back in the day have that same, he had those songs, "I Don't Want You Anymore," and "I Won't Be Your Fool," and "I Won't Come Crawling Back to You." So that song is kind of right up the alley of a lot of Melvin's old school subject matter. The other thing is that song is so syncopated and there's so much going on that Melvin was the perfect person to sing it, because he's also a drummer. So his handle on rhythm is really, he was probably one of the only people who could have sang that song and still really felt it, because it dances around the beat so much. No one will know. No one. The other song Melvin Davis did was called "No One Will Know," and that is him and Pat Lewis. Pat is a huge staple in the Northern Soul scene, and she sang background for Isaac Hayes and for the Vandellas and the Andantes and everybody. She's on everybody's record.
They say that time, they say that time, stop all your crying, can stop all your crying.
I met Kyle Allen through Bruce Williamson of the Temptations. Kyle is Bruce's godson, and just a phenomenal singer. This guy is like 5 or 6 different vocalists in one body. And he's singing 2 songs on the record. One is an a cappella song called "The Time Is Now," and he sings every single part. All of it is Kyle singing every single note. And you would never know. Whenever he changes registers, he almost sounds like a different singer. It's pretty amazing.
That used to light up your face. I know you've been waiting. They say that time. Sometime.
When I was going all over Detroit, going to every jam session I could possibly get in the door at, Rob Carter was hosting an open mic jam kind of R&B thing at Alvin's downtown, and he sang lead on a song called "I Just Can't Control Myself" with Nature's Divine. That was a big Detroit soul hit, and I knew that song but didn't know it was Rob Carter singing lead. I couldn't believe I didn't know it. He sounds a lot like Jackie Wilson, and he has really studied that style of singing, and it's awesome because he is a completely unique voice in the Detroit soul scene. You can hear him sing anything for 2 seconds and you can immediately say, "That's Rob Carter." And it's cool to have him on those songs because, just from singing them, he's made them his. I wrote the song "Simple Words" for Spyder Turner. Spyder is an amazing Detroit singer. He had a big hit in the region with "Stand By Me," the Benny King song, with his own version of it. And he would imitate these other artists on the record and had such a range and such a crazy variety of different things he could do with his voice. "Simple Words" is a strange subject matter. It's about a girl who is so obsessed with literature and poetry and academia that she's just totally blind to this guy chasing after her. And Spyder was awesome in the studio with this song. He really took it and made it his own.
With just a simple written word or two, boy, you'll be happy to be.
Chris was one of the first people I met when I moved to Detroit. Didn't know anybody. I had just gotten the job with the Tops, did not know anybody outside of work. And I went on Craigslist, of all places, just looking for younger musicians, and Chris had this post up looking to do R&B and soul music. And he was the only person there who was looking to do that kind of music. So I got in touch with him, and I was stunned. You know, he's an amazing singer, and he has a very rich voice, and his voice really stands up with all these older, veteran soul singers. And even though he's a young guy, he has that earnesty and that kind of plea to his voice that you hear in a lot of soul music. It's pretty cool. I've always been a huge fan of Chairmen of the Board. Everybody knows them from their days with Holland Dozier Holland after Motown. They had a huge hit with Give Me Just a Little More Time and Finders Keepers and all this really cool, just classic soul stuff. And General Johnson had one of the most distinctive, identifiable voices I've ever heard. The dude is one of my favorite singers ever. And I had really tried to write them for the Chairman of the Board. And luckily Ken Knox, who's one of the original members, has kept it going. And Ken fell in love with the tunes because he said that they were just right up the Chairman of the Board's alley, right up that style. And So Many Fish in the Sea is just a real classic Detroit soul, Motown-y kind of song with that big tambourine playing and everything. And what's awesome about Ken is that he's an amazing singer. You know, he can kind of break his voice on command and he can get all those little nuances, but Ken is an amazing saxophone player. Most people don't know that, and it's just great to have him both singing lead and soloing on saxophone on this record. It's great. And the other two members, Thomas Hunter and Richard Figueroa, are fantastic. Made the songs fun. McKinley Jackson arranged the horns for 8 of the songs on the record, and McKinley is a legendary horn arranger who worked with Holland Dozier and Holland extensively throughout their career with Invictus and Hot Wax. He played trombone on Ooh Baby Baby, and just amazing arranger, horn player, and keyboardist today. Still performs around town playing keys and writing horn charts for everything from movie scores to pop songs to, everything. McKinley Jackson is just one of those all-around musical talents who can sit down for 5 minutes and write the most compelling horn line you've ever heard. I went to New York University in Manhattan for jazz performance. And again, I was playing and studying jazz, but I really wanted to play soul music. So I started my own group there, and that group is the Drew Schultz Funk Machine, which is playing on this record. It's Jent LaPalm on bass, Emilio Tostado on guitar, and Dan Sieling on guitar. We booked a week at the studio, but we were finished in 3 days. It was just unreal how quickly and smoothly everything ran. But that's why I love working with those guys. It's just like hanging out with your best buddies, and that's what it comes down to.
You could take a real simple beat, and if you could lock in with, say, a bass player or a guitar player, and make a horn player or a piano player climb up the wall.
The title track to the record is Back to Class, and it's not quite a song. It's almost more of like a little additional icing on the cake to the record.
I know something about soul.
With members of the Funk Brothers talking over the top of it. And the Funk Brothers were Motown's backing band. They played on every hit song from 1959 and 1972.
The Funk Brothers, we play together every day, and most of them play together every night.
Uriel, Eddie Willis, Jack Ashford, Dennis Coffey, Jamerson Jr., Tree, and Benjamin Corbett. And Uriel Jones, the drummer for the Funk Brothers, one of the drummers for the Funk Brothers, was real influential to me early on, and he was like a mentor to me. Him and George Roundtree. Tree was the conductor for the Four Tops, and is, if there's one reason that this record exists today, it's George Roundtree, because he really gave me the chance to work with the Four Tops, which led me to work with all these fantastic musicians. So this whole record, it's because of Tree, and it's kind of for Uriel and for Tree.
It made me start there to appreciate music. I like all kinds of music.
The 12-piece rhythm section in Studio A, we had our own feel, but essentially every record that came out of Motown, that record that brought it to life was that rhythm section, the Funk Brothers. That's what we did.
You can